you've seen the last few steady crafting videos, you know TheCrafsMan has been in sofubi land. We learned how sofubi or soft vinyl toys are made. We learned how to rotocast sofubi approximations out of flexible resin. And we even learned that it's possible to straight up cook our own plastisol in DIY silicone molds so that we can pull our own vinyl figures at home. And when we last left off, TheCrafsMan was painting a mold onto this little cereal premium, strictly for testing purposes. I said, if this technique right here works, it will make our molds better, faster, stronger, and significantly cheaper than using solid molds. I fired up the oven, and look at her. Our first test was successful enough for me to proceed. The concept is pretty simple. TheCrafsMan was emailed by my buddy Jonathan, who said, "Hey TheCrafsMan, did you know silicone?" I said, "Oh baby, that's right. Silicone holds up to 450 degrees, at least this one does." I'm using dragon skin, but I use either the fast or very fast because I can paint it on. Now the magic happens when you add some metal particles for conductivity. TheCrafsMan uses a 1:1:1 ratio, A to B to C, C being copper. So part A, part B, and copper is all 1:1:1. Very simple. I mix the copper into the B side first, alright? And this, it always looks like it ain't going to be enough, but just keep mixing it. Then we're going to add in our A part, and that should liquidify things a little better and get it to a brushable consistency. Oh, go ahead and have you some mineral spirits in a little cup. That's how you're going to clean the silicone off your brush, okay? Now we're going to apply our silicone onto our character. And we're not going to get antsy or anxieties. We're just going to breathe slow. This dragon skin silicone I'm using will be cured in 30 minutes. But I found I can apply my second and third layers sooner than 30 minutes apart. We want to add us another, 2-3 layers to this so it ain't floppy. Now, I like to have me a nice substantial flange to my mold, okay? This is optional, but it's going to let you get a good grip on it. I want to take at least just a second to talk about object preparation. TheCrafsMan will simply attach a little cup, a little rounded, just a shape onto the end of the neck or the head opening, wherever the opening of your object is. Having you like a cup or a flange is going to help with excess plastisol as well. But once you're done, you wind up with a fairly resilient mold. Look at that. Now, for the record, TheCrafsMan did try some nickel silver since I had some left over from about 6 or 7 years ago. But I don't recommend it because it's expensive. I'm just showing y'all that I tried buku approaches out here, like pouring solid silicone and black iron, as well as stainless steel, as well as various gang mode situations and configurations. Even tried applying individual layers differently from one another. So first layer silicone, second layer silicone and metal, so on and so forth. And the whole point is thusly, to get a glove mold that's sort of wrapped around the object like a thick skin. And this thick skin has metal particles which will transfer the heat into the plastisol. This takes significantly longer with a solid chunky mold right here. To further prove my point, look at this. See how thick this part of the mold is right here? Notice, alright, see that? It did not get up to temperature as quickly as the rest of the mold, and that kept our neck right here from curing properly. Another little breakthrough Craftsman had, Hobby Lobby had this little epoxy, little tumbler rotationary deal right here, motor, turned out to be fabulous for this process. Not only does it free up both hands, but it results in a smoother, more professional looking mold. Now, you want your molds to be able to stand up or otherwise, be able to secure them because they're gonna have liquid plastisol inside and you don't want to spill them. One crude solution Craftsman did, I just, took my metal rack out and just kind of bent it. We negotiated to where it can hold some molds like this style. See that? Not only I modified my oven rack, but look at this. I modified another spare rack so that I can drop my molds down into my vacuum chamber. For our first attempt, I'm going to turn on the oven and set it to around 380, no higher than 400 degrees. Before we start cooking the plastisol, we're going to grab us a respirator and some insulated gloves. I'm pouring the plastisol over an aluminum foil pan so it doesn't go everywhere. And also you can just throw that pan in the oven after and cure that plastisol. And I'm checking the temperature of the mold itself. Once it gets above 380 degrees or so, I pour my plastisol. Now, this is just a mold test, but when making an actual part, I'll pull a vacuum on the plastisol to remove bubbles. It's important for your mold to stay up to temperature long enough, okay? I leave the plastisol for 2 or 3 minutes until a layer starts to gel on the inside. And then we dump out the excess to be reused later. Now our mold and hollow plastisol part go back in the oven for around 25 minutes, which, come to find out, was too long. Look at this. Or too hot. We got a toasted marshmallow. But that's exciting because it confirms the metal and silicone glove mold is transferring heat to the plastisol more efficiently. I repeated the process, lowering the time from 25 minutes to 15 minutes to 10 minutes. Also trying to find the best temperature at the same time, which for me ended up being 370 degrees. To remove the parts, I submerged the molds in cold water. And here's one way glove molds are unique. Because look, you can literally just inside them out. The molds kind of peel and they're pretty tough, especially when built up in layers. And for larger molds, big molds, you probably want to do some kind of extra support around the mold, like a shell, rigid. The parts have a nice gloss to them as well, which is a good sign when you see that. Now, when you go to choose a silicone, I don't want you to be disappointed, okay? I have found that the very fast is probably maybe too fast. The fast is about fast enough. The medium is still acceptable for paint-on application, but I would reserve it for situations where you need more time to apply the silicone, and you might even put it in the pressure pot afterwards. But we've cooked up a bunch of plastisol parts out here so far. The molds have not fallen apart. Yeah, at some point, I imagine I have to, remake more or whatever, but the vinyl just seems to slip out of here easier than it does with resin. All of our earliest vinyl pulls are going to be Patreon direct supporter giveaways. We've already been sending some out in the mail and including some with orders, so that's what we're doing with those for right now. But we're hoping to sell some vinyl as soon as we get it really down pat. And I got some other figures and parts that we're getting ready to cook up in vinyl. Also very exciting and encouraging it has been to see the soft vinyl community doing DIY molds. Check this out.